Hello everyone, this is Space Marine with the Tropical Weather Update. Right now we're 2 weeks into the 2022 Atlantic hurricane season, and it's already been a fairly exciting season. So before we talk about what's going to happen, let's just briefly mention what has happened. And here's a radar loop of Tropical Storm Alex that hit Florida. So that was the first storm of the Atlantic hurricane season, literally only about 10 days ago. And it just dumped tremendous rain. Like you could see here, this is about where I live, and there was like a foot of rain. Some places got like a foot and a half of rain, and the water table literally rose like a few feet, like where I live. Like I've never seen flooding like that over here, and because it was just raining all over the whole Everglades, and the whole water table just rose up. Because usually, even if we get a foot of rain, it won't like rise up several feet like that. But anyways, they let the water back out into the ocean, and the water levels dropped. I'm sure there was like some pretty catastrophic flooding for thousands of houses. But in any case, that storm is done. That was Tropical Storm Alex. And notably, actually, this wasn't even a tropical storm when it hit Florida. Technically, it didn't have a closed circulation, according to the Hurricane Center. Although it packed more of a punch than many tropical storms do. But it did officially become a tropical storm off the coast of Florida once it moved out into the Atlantic. As you can see over there, it moved out. But anyways, as for what's going on now, in the Atlantic, it's quite quiet. You can see here... like here's Florida up there, Cuba. There's really not much going on. There is one area of concern here in the southernmost part of the Caribbean, near Panama and Costa Rica. We got basically some disturbed weather along the intertropical convergence zone. So there's pretty much always disturbed weather in this region. But like sometimes it gets more disturbed because the intertropical convergence zone can move like north. So basically, usually it's a little more south, like towards the equator where my cursor is, but then it moves a little bit north. And then some convective weather could get pinched off and become a cyclone. So that may be what's about to happen in the Caribbean. And before I go into the rest of that, just looking out into the rest of the Atlantic, like here's the Lesser Antilles, the Leeward Islands, basically the edge of the Caribbean on the eastern side of the Caribbean. And there's a huge Saharan air layer mass. And you can especially see it as the sun sets. This will put a cap on any development in this region, and that's normal. It's like the middle of June. We usually don't see that much active weather for hurricanes this time of year. If we do see anything, it's towards the Gulf of Mexico, towards the Caribbean, just like we saw with Tropical Storm Alex spinning up and hitting Florida. And like this thing might spin up. And yeah, like here's the Hurricane Center projection. They say there's a 40% chance of development, basically. And they're forecasting if it does develop, it'll kind of like curve towards the Yucatan Peninsula. So yeah, according to the current scenario, it wouldn't be much of an issue for the U.S., but we'll get into that more in a moment. But anyways, yeah, back to this. Here's the Saharan air layer, literally dust coming off of Africa, just blocking any convective activity. It makes it really hard for convection to form, and if convection does form, basically, I mean, thunderstorms is convection, just to put it in common terms. So yeah, so if thunderstorms do form out in this region, where all this dust is, they'll kind of just die out because of the dust. But that's normal, like I said, and we kind of expect... towards August, September, and then into October, that's when this whole region becomes more favorable, and then we see the tropical waves like this one. This is actually a tropical wave right here. So we'll see tropical waves like this one rolling off of Africa, going out into the Atlantic, getting stronger, becoming hurricanes. So that's the main part of the hurricane season. And by the way, this is called the Main Development Region, MDR. But like I said, it's not really in play yet until at the earliest, like July, and sometimes not even until September. It just depends. They say this will be more active than usual hurricane season, though. All right, so moving on to the analysis, I'll discuss what's going on with this storm first. So like I said, the Hurricane Center thinks it might develop. So let's look at the GFS, which is the American model, the most trusted model. Let's just let the run restart first before we get into the analysis. All right, so here's the beginning of the run. And so this is the region in question. And it kind of shows it being loosely organized but developing, and then moving across the Yucatan, and then going to the Gulf of Mexico and hitting Mexico. So that's the current GFS scenario. It shows perhaps a tropical storm or something forming, but it's a little too early still. There's a decent chance something might form. And also, by the way, the model runs have been showing this forming for a while. At first, they were showing it like forming here and like zooming out into Florida. And then some of them showed it hitting Louisiana. Some of them showed it hitting Texas. And now they're showing it hitting here. And that could change again. It could show it hitting here or here as time goes on. So it looks like there's a potential for something to go into the Gulf of Mexico. Where exactly it's going to go, no one's really sure. And these models could very easily change. But yeah, there's something to watch here, and it's not really that interesting yet. Like I showed the satellite before. Let's just zoom in a little on this thing. It's really not that interesting. There's not really much in the way of actual deep convection. It's definitely not that organized. All we have is a general broad convergence light associated with the intertropical convergence zone. So yeah, nothing major yet going on. Nothing. There's no guarantees anything will form. But if something does form, it could enter the Gulf of Mexico, and then we'll see from there where it will actually go. These things with the models could change. They call it wiper blades. That literally could go like this and like this. Like as far as the model runs go, they can like keep wiping back and forth across the Gulf of Mexico until it gets a little closer in time, and then we get a better forecast. So that's what's going on in the Atlantic. Definitely nothing imminent, nothing that urgent is going on. So yeah, there's not gonna be any hurricanes hitting the U.S. this week or anything. It looks like. All right, and then as for the East Pacific, there's Tropical Storm Blah. I'm not making this up. It's literally called. Let me see if I can pull the name up here. Tropical Storm Blah. And guess what? It is Blah. And yeah, some people say there's a lot in a name, and I believe in that. And this one was named Blah, and it's just Blah. It's not that bad of a storm. I mean, it looks pretty tight. It is strengthening. The Hurricane Center says it's going to become a hurricane as it moves off into the East Pacific on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, before hitting the colder waters. Because basically the waters get much colder up here very quickly. The west coast of the continent is a lot colder than the east coast as far as the water temperatures, because there's a lot of upwelling along the west coast. So even though on the other side, like over here, in the Gulf of Mexico, it's very hot at this latitude, over at this latitude in the East Pacific, it's very cold. So if this becomes a Category 5 or something, let's say it goes crazy, which they're not forecasting, that it will still die out like after Friday or on Friday and Saturday and Sunday. It's just going to die out and slowly trek through the East Pacific. So even though it probably will become a hurricane, it doesn't look so bad. I mean, if this was next to Florida, this would be a big deal. Everyone would be talking about it. People would be starting to put up shutters and stuff. But since it's going to the middle of nowhere and it's just going to die out in the middle of the ocean, maybe it'll affect a few ships or something. Since it's only going to do that, it's Blah. And that's why they named it Blah, I guess. All right, so that's all that there is today for the tropical update for the Atlantic. Like I said, it's the second week of June. This is just the very beginning of the season. We have a long season to go. They say it's going to be more active than usual. And I'll be trying to update, if not daily. It will be definitely daily updates when stuff starts to get cooking. Right now, stuff is not really cooking. It's kind of slow, so maybe every other day, maybe every day if I have time. But I will be updating a lot as hurricanes start to form, so like and subscribe. And also, in general, I'll be covering severe weather and blizzards and stuff in the winter, and all sorts of exotic meteorological and space phenomena. So if you like that sort of thing, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.